Hi, I'm Vincent.
Yes, my name is Ruth from Uganda.
We are doing a project called Future Education.
The aim of this project is to discuss the issues concerning our education system today.
For this, we are doing interviews in Germany and in Uganda.
We're able to interview different people, and these are the questions we asked.
What is education?
What are the problems?
And future education.
Thank you.
Education as we see it today is about living in the world and about creating the stories and sharing the stories and the reference and the and expanding the imagination to in the ongoing process of figuring out what it is to what does it mean to be alive with others in one planet.
Education is an interaction between various people with various experiences, with various knowledge, with various kind of thinking and perspectives and so on. And this interaction is to change this experience, knowledge, to share experience and knowledge and so on, for sharing and looking for sharing for creating the possibilities for the participants to look what they can keep for themselves for developing their own personality.
Education is simple. A simple definition of education is maybe I could take you to the origin of the word education. It comes from Latin, and it comes from educo, educare. Educo is to educare is to educe, to bring out from within. So if you educated, that means the innate knowledge that has been redundant there has been brought out to actualization. So when you say you educated, you are transformed, you're changed, and usually for the better. So the right kind of education should be that which brings out the best from within a person, so that somebody becomes fulfilled. All the faculties of humanity come into play under the direction of a tutor, of somebody who is more knowledgeable, and then we see a complete person emerging out of the experience of education.
Education is a lifelong learning period. You can't stop learning, so that is education. However, I know that education is a human right, and for the deaf community, sign language is mandatory for them to learn.
Are systems that were created after the Industrial Revolution to try to organize society according to the thinking of that era. And the mass education that we know today, it was organized around the principles of factories, the same way that people thought about factories. They thought about putting children through disciplines that were divided according to their specialties and year groups, and you go through the progression of knowledge accumulation in order to become workers in a society organized according to those principles. And these principles today do not work as well as they seem to work in the past, because the economy has shifted, society has shifted, and people are asking for more from education too. So I think there were political changes, there were economic changes, but there are also existential changes. We are asking questions very different. We have the children asking questions that are very different.
The challenges could be enormous, but a summary of them is the comparison we have in terms of the economic growth and the population growth in Uganda. In Uganda, we have a very, very high population growth, where, for example, in our education system, we receive about 3 million children in our schools on an annual basis. But if you compare the population growth with the economic growth, there is a lot of imbalance. Therefore, the biggest challenge we have in education today is where we have more learners than the capacity to provide for them.
I think that what we have now as a formal system is I guess a way of reaching a lot of young people in big numbers, which allows kind of you can reach the mass, so to speak, of people. I'm not sure if it opens many possibilities for depth, for deep learning. I'm not sure if that's possible within the formal system because it has already so many demands that it has to fulfill. The curriculums are very complex. The demands on the schools, on the teachers, and the students are very high. So I'm not really sure about how much things can be changed within the formal system.
The problems are quite many. Some of them are based on facilities. They are limited. Facilities in terms of what the students should have. You see students coming saying, we don't have this. You have asked for a book, they don't have a book. You ask for this, they don't have. So there is a challenge of facilities. Then another thing is that I think also with teachers, to some extent, we are lacking time for research because you are teaching, you are marking, but there is limited time for research. I think there should be a way of trying to make the curriculum guide the teacher to research more and get more info.
For Ugandan situation, I think it has a list of issues in the curriculum if we were to look at the education. Because special needs and inclusive setting, they're all their curriculums are not adopted. They're just ordinary curriculums. Yes, we have the content, what we need to deliver, but how to deliver them is a big question that we Ugandan education is still struggling with. For example, if you're teaching music, we have the curriculum, but the methods or modes of delivery is the biggest. Yes, is the biggest question. And how do you teach the deaf and different categories of disabilities?
I would need education that transforms the total human being. Not just the head, not just speaking English like the owners of the language, but education that changes the whole mind.
The children have to accept each other, and they have to accept children also from other countries or children with handicaps. So I hope that at the end of their school years here, they have learned to be open for others, also for other people, and that they will be able to have a good life, which means to find their way in their place in the society.
The kind of education which is good for them is one where they learn hands-on, through hands-on experiences, which is more practical than theoretical, and which is not so much hinged on examinations. At least there should be an education where examinations are there for like a continuous assessment program, not giving them an exam for 3 hours for the things they have studied for 4 years, 2 hours for the things they studied for 4 years. I think that one creates pressure on them, and they think and learning is for examination. But examination should be that one which gives them skills and makes them not so do the rote learning of planning for examination.
We need experiments, educational experiments that help us to feel connected again, and to see that if we don't let go of some of the things that we believe are going to give us security so that we can enter into a different relationship with each other, if we don't let go of that, because we're afraid of letting go of it, so if we don't tackle that fear, we will feel empty.
For example, for the German context, for me it's very important that children and students of color also have access to education, and that they have also access to certain archives of knowledge.
I'd like to see the education of the future generation, more of the practical skills, encouraging these young people to get these different skills that can enable them fit in every side of employment, that they can really go and get something out of it. I also wish that within the coming future, the schools are set in areas that are really conducive for these young people. They're not tempered, they're in a very safe environment where they can acquire their education without any disturbance from the surrounding environment.
I think it's important to see that children also have to learn all the social skills. They have to learn more about other cultures, especially nowadays that people just like so many cultures are in Germany, so I think it's important for the children to learn more about them.
It should be all-around education that provides skills, appropriate attitudes, but also that gives us the technical knowledge that we need to have in order for us to be competitive locally, in the region, but also globally.
So I think it is very good that they learn about the history, what happened really. The history of the other country is not known enough in German.
Attitude of parents, the government as in the corruption within the economy, and the attitude of students themselves need to be improved.
Schools needs to be open, not just in the system, but having a lot of network, having people coming and telling them from outside.
So we need such kind of education, an education system that throws some, that can make a child independent, an education that does not make somebody to rely on somebody for a job, but an education that is making somebody self-reliant. You know, you get vocation, you get skills, and an education that is .com, not the archaic kind of things. The way we are teaching is the way we are taught, and we don't see a lot of change in the near future, yet we would want maybe introduction of computers and stuff like that in our education. It may be coming in.
The provision of quality education is not a role for parents, but a role for everybody.
According to our movie, what is education?
Wow, and what kind of education does our future need?
Thank you.